Quantum healing, the future of medicine.
If you come from God, you can't say one thing and someone else is saying another thing. That's not correct. If you come from Creator, then you talk Creator language. And it doesn't matter when a perfect master is coming and teaching on the planet and taking and initiating certain souls in order to take them back, sometimes completely. Usually we're told that initiated souls, initiated by a perfect master, usually has a maximum of 3 more lifetimes. And that way the master will make sure that in the next 3 years or 3 lifetimes that the negative karma is burned completely, and that you can actually then fulfill what you always want, to just be one with the Creator. At that point, we're not worrying about, who is your brother and your sister and, family members, and you're all kind of all souls, and you get together and you come together in this life because you got some karma to work out with each other. And sometimes we do that well, sometimes we don't do it well at all. These are karmic games that are played. I think Shakespeare always said, we're just actors on a stage in a play, which is exactly what we are, but we are doing something while we're here. So it doesn't matter what your work ends up, how much money you have. It depends on what kind of integrity you had in this lifetime and how you circumvented your Himalayas, those huge obstacles that came in your way. Did you do it with honor? Did you do it with goodness? Or did you find another sneaky way to lie and manipulate and use ego and greed and everything else and snake your way into more of whatever? It doesn't count in the spirit world. It's a negative completely in the spirit world. And like we talked about in other episodes, you don't get away with anything. Absolutely nothing. Everything is recorded. Every thought is recorded, let alone an action. So when you come in, you know who your parents are going to be, you know what your life is going to be, and then they take that veil and that memory, they put the veil there, and you can't remember these kinds of discussions. Now, more advanced souls will actually remember these processes, will actually know what they are. Most people on planet Earth at this point in time don't know that. You have to trust that what you're hearing is resonating and ringing true with you. But you will go through your lifetime and you will have an expiration date. And of all the masters that I've, not only personally with a perfect master, but I've also done other readings, they've all said the same thing. It's definite. It is not something you can change simply because we're so karmically bound together. If they change that date, then it affects other karmas as well. The karma ends with your last breath. So the way the old masters would put it is that you only have so many breaths in a life. And when you've done that last breath, that's it. The electricity is disconnected, you got a dead body, and the soul moves on. Soul never dies. Soul goes on to what I like to call sort of the waiting station. It doesn't automatically, it needs to be assigned to where it's going to go for its best evolution. So you will go to it's an in-between kind of stage where, they talk about the pearly gates. You'll come to the pearly gates and they'll let you in, and your team will meet with you at a round table and they will discuss your life. They have it all. They have it all laid out. They know exactly what you were doing, what you were thinking, what you did good, what you didn't do so good. This is all gone over, and they will appropriately put you in a place that is best suited to where you're at and where your frequency is at, so that you can be productive there and that you can think and dwell upon some of the things you didn't do very well. So it's another exercise in spirituality. There are different schools, there are lessons to be learned, and so your learning continues until maybe you're lucky enough to get another lifetime here. As I said, people line up, souls line up in multitudes to get one lifetime here so that they can burn up that negative karma and get the hell out of hell. This is hell, guys. When you go and you cross across the border, let's say, I mean, the life is so incredible. And usually you will hear from people that go to that, you don't want to come back. You really just do not want to come back. I'm always in awe of perfect spiritual masters that volunteer to come onto this earth. They don't have to be here at all. They've already made it. They are God realized. They are one with God. And yet, despite that, if Creator wants them to, they will volunteer their time and they will come to earth and live in this putrid and toxic place, do their meditation so you know they going with the Father all the time, and then having to come back into this every single day. I actually, when I see a perfect master, I cry. I cry for the generosity of wanting to even come here and be in this. Because if people can make a real mess of stuff, we've done it. Fear seems to rule. A really horrible, toxic, evil group of people seem to be controlling the planet, or think they are. They're fading, but they still think they're in charge. And all they do is create fear and chaos, fear and chaos, fear and chaos. I mean, at some point, I think we're all done with that. This is time to move on, guys. The ship's leaving, it's left. There's very little time for you to jump that gap between staying in the 3-4D and going into the 5D is where that ship is going. We invite you with us, but you can't bring those fears and those chaoses and that toxic behavior with you. It doesn't belong. It's not compatible. And anyone can flip over. It's one of the greatest things of having free will and free choice is that on a dime, we can flip around and become the being we want to be and what's expected of us in a second.